Hello, and welcome back to our next episode of Duskmourn Chronicles. We apologize for the last one ending so abruptly, but that's how they're all going to end, as we are just playing this game until we can't anymore.
Collapse.
Unto death.
Indeed. And so, if you haven't seen what happened last week, I'm not going to do a recap, because you should just go and watch what happened last week.
Yeah.
It was intense. It was insane. We were rolling initiative for some characters.
We're fighting with gods.
Yeah.
So,
I just want to know what Halvar's initiative bonus is.
I hear if you punch them on the nose, they back down though. Well, that's dogs, not gods.
and then
Yeah.
that's yours.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you there. He was quite a lot faster than
Important
you,
distinction.
Okay.
sadly.
Mm-hmm.
Same letters, different order.
Yeah. You can't walk one. You can, but
Technically, who knows?
Sorry.
So, you have turned into this dire wolf. You are thundering towards Halvarth, who has turned into this four-tusked, gigantic mammoth. He sees you charging towards him. He waits until the very last moment, and then in an incredibly quick maneuver, he swishes his head sideways, and those four tusks come swinging directly towards you. I need you to give me a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage, please, to avoid being hit by these. Oh, it was so close to a 20.
Yes. Well, it doesn't matter then. It's going to be a 3.
It's a 3. Okay. So, sadly, you take
dice. Many dice, that's it. Do you get some more?
Oh, you'd be. I mean, well, you'll see.
Okay.
50 points of damage. As these lines slam into you. So that's what's happening with you. Let's get this on the road, shall we? You and your little sniveling imp. Ready?
A moment longer, please.
Why?
Because we have not yet agreed on how we are going to fight you yet.
You have. You said all my power versus all your power.
You inferred that. But
No, that's pretty much what you said.
pretty much being the distinction there.
That's a heavy pretty much you got to unpack there, sunshine. You better do it quick.
Damnifer. Listen here, you little prick. You devious little fuck. The shoe's on the other foot now.
No, you misunderstand. We have no shoes. This is why.
And do you think I should back down?
You can't.
Oh, we can't.
No,
Oh, well then let's see this to the bitter end then.
you're insane.
But how about we go down together, eh? You and I.
How about no?
Well, unfortunately, you don't really have much of a choice, do you?
Is that what you think?
Well, that's what I hoped.
Really?
Mm.
You read the contract?
That thing.
No.
As he's reaching up into the air to pull this contract out of wherever, Brack steps forward, and now he's about 9 foot tall. And he points this very large claymore that he is wielding in one hand at Damnifer and says, No, none of your shenanigans. You are his patron, are you not? Damnifer turns and looks at him. Only technically. And only for as long as the contract exists. Great, powerful God Brax. In which case you fight alongside him. No contract changes for you, little devil. Damnifer turns to you and says, You better be better than anyone here thinks you are. And then he sort of adopts a slight combat pose.
But I said to him,
Give me initiative, please. because Brax goes, ah, excellent. And then he charges forward.
Okay then.
Well, alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
That's an unnatural 20.
Oh, very nice.
A preternatural 20. A damned 20, you might say.
That is not a natural 20. So, by the grace of not the gods, you are going first.
Please at least wound the god. It'd be hilarious.
The sniggering is not appreciated.
Oh, no, I'm just laughing because of Damnifer.
Well, he gets what he bloody deserved.
Yeah.
Damnifer is going last
Yeah.
because he's already wincing.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Avaradus?
Bonus action, Hexblade Curse upon Brax. Get +3 bonus damage to him, basically. That's some other stuff. But yes, I curse him. I point my cursed blade, courtesy of Damnifer. Very apt he should be here to see it drawn in anger. And I point my blade at the god's rather massive big toe. I just slash across it very briefly to hex him and splash a little shadow upon him, which hopefully will corrupt him.
Oh, instantly, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And then I move forth to strike with the rapier. I will try 2 attempts at stabbing the god Brax.
Armor class lots.
First hit is a 19.
Miss.
See if we've got anything better in the chamber. We do not.
Yeah. He looks down at you. You're not holding back, are you?
Well, I thought a little warm-up round would be apt.
Right. He takes a step forward, and you hear Damnifer going, oh gods, I can't even, fuck. And Brax swings his claymore down in this large arc. Oh!
Did you crit? Did you crit?
A natural 20.
Natural
20. Oh my goodness.
Game over, man.
Yeah.
Game over.
This claymore swings down in this huge arc and sails through the air and decapitates Damnifer.
Oh,
Your power drains.
Oh my
The
god.
sword disintegrates in my hand. I've got a backup.
Then he lifts his other hand, which has got this gigantic maul in it, and he swings at you.
It's been nice knowing you, sunshine.
Yeah.
That's a 19 to hit base.
Well, yeah, that beats my 18.
All right.
Base.
Ooh.
71.
Okay.
71. That's good. That's
fine.
good numbers. Oh, and I rolled so badly. That is fantastic. Okay, 33 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, goody.
What have we done?
I can fight the shit.
As he decapitates Damnifer, steps forward and just smacks you across the chest with his maul. Oh, sorry. Bit off, he says, and he sort of spins the maul in one hand, catches it, and steps forward. Right. Again. Meanwhile, Gottfried.
Hiya.
Yeah, the two sisters are looking at you.
I'm opening the second book of the Bosquedarium and I'm kind of leafing. I'm curious. You know what my agenda is, you must. You are the diviners of secret snow. And yet here I'm standing in front of you and you are not snuffing out my life. Why is that?
They look at each other. Why does he ask us the questions when he knows? And then they both look at you and in harmony say, we're not gonna fucking tell him.
But we have a long time, no, to discuss things here in this wonderful place. Or should I just keep reading?
You only have time here.
Let's see. And if I were to demand, let's see, how should I put this? As is my right to own the third book of the Crepuscularium, or have Reft give it to me, and he's kind of waiting for something to happen, and I assume nothing happens. I thought that's not work. That's a pity.
You see, says the one sister. Use the big dice. It would have worked when, and then the other one says,
Oh, back in the
You're here now with us forever. If that wasn't clear, well, then you're not as smart as we didn't give you credit for to begin with anyway. But no, read on.
I'm turning the ring of wishes on my finger.
Give me an insight check.
18.
They're both watching that ring, and you can tell that they're very interested in that ring. They want that ring.
And yet they're not just hacking my hand off and taking it. It's very interesting. Do I have a sense that, so I'm in the God's realm, another plane of existence, time not passing as it is in the prime material plane? Would that be something I'd believe, think, know?
As far as the religious texts are concerned, the gods dwell outside of time because they know everything that has been and will be.
This isn't very exciting. I'm going to read the second book of the Crepuscularium from start to finish. As an action. No.
It's a bonus action.
I'm specifically looking at the bit that
Yes.
talks about the destruction of the gods. Because it was open on that page, and I'm pretty sure I would have bookmarked that shit, you know? So yeah, I'm just going to read. If they're not going to kill me, I'm going to read. But I've got this ring, and I'm rehearsing in my head as I read a little use of that ring. Specifically, get me in front of the third book.
The one sister is watching you read. The other one is standing looking at a book. And she stops looking at the book, and then she looks up at you. And your reading of the second book is that you have to slay the gods in the realm from which they come. That much is very clear. It doesn't say where they come from. It also states, and as you read more, that in slaying them, you will gain their power.
I'll kind of, as I'm reading that particular sentence, but I don't want their power. I don't want anything to have their power. And I keep reading. And I say that aloud so that I can hear it.
The one that, well, they both hear you. The one stops and she says, I'm curious. Do you think in all of that reading, all of those secrets that you've been stealing from everybody, reading, taking from the greats to try and make yourself even remotely interesting, at what point does any of this seem like a choice?
Well, I'm hoping for a little elbow room. Maybe my choices are very limited. Maybe I have none at all, but I don't know. And again, the ring.
Whom? With whom?
With whom I'm going to make a choice?
Yes.
I'm not sure I follow. I'm going to make a choice based on what I think is right.
But you just said you don't know. So you're not making a choice based on what you think is right. You're making a choice based on what you don't think.
Well, let me clarify. What I believe is that you and your other 5 counterparts are tyrants. And I want to remove you from the equation. I don't necessarily need you to die, but I want you to be divested of power, and I don't want that power to reside anywhere, so that the sentient races of Brax can make their own choices, even if those choices are calamitous and foolish.
The other one skips past you going, wait. So you want to take the equation and just remove the numbers?
It's a nice way of putting it, yeah. Or put a line through the equation.
But honey, the equation still remains. It now just isn't able to be solved.
Well, you'll forgive me if I don't take your word for that. And I'll bend back to the page I was reading.
The one looks at the other. He's mad. He comes to the place to ask the questions, and when he gets the answers, the ones that he doesn't like, he simply ignores. And the other one then says, as it always is.
Were you once standing where I'm standing? You were, weren't you? More or less.
One looks and says, yes, I've stood there many times. I like those particular books.
But I mean, a mortal challenging a god. That was you at one point, no?
Well, you've just read in your book how you become a god.
Very well. So, you won the fight. Yes?
I'm standing here.
Good. Was that really just a kind of dust up, like a couple of thugs in an alleyway? Or was it a bit more sophisticated?
You want us to tell you how to beat us?
No. As I said, I don't want to take your place.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. But as we have clearly pointed out, do you even have a choice in the matter?
Well, we'll have to find out, won't we?
We don't have to find out anything.
You see, you're playing two games here. On the one hand, all those things you know, and on the other hand, there are things we're keeping secret. It's not exactly a fair conversation, is it? In the same way that it wouldn't be a fair fight if we were to simply draw daggers. So to speak.
You are talking about our brother Brax. We don't follow his rules.
Mm-hmm.
So, quote fairness as much as you like, but you know, there are some who just are not able to keep secrets in their heads.
Mm.
And there are others who don't want those secrets in their heads, kind of like you.
I do believe in the promulgation of information. That's true. So I tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to look around. There are no doors, I presume, no exits.
Just corridors.
Just corridors, books and books and books. I'll pop my ring. Take me to the place where I may seize the third volume of the Crepuscularium and bring it into my possession. Immediately.
Okay. Take me to the place where I might
I really should have given that more thought.
take into possession.
Yeah, it was too... can I have a moment?
You write it down.
My character's got 20 intelligence. I don't. So yes.
You write it down.
Yeah, I'll write it
you
down.
write it down.
I'm going to write that down.
Maybe change the me to us.
I need you, please, Gemini, to give me a charisma saving throw.
Charisma saving throw.
Yes.
Okay. That is a 19.
The crowd, after your performance, are ecstatic. And the adulation and adoration that they exude just washes over you.
Mm.
And they are screaming for more.
But she is able to resist that
Temptation
call of
to continue
ego.
performing.
And she turns to Rhett and says, always leave them wanting more.
Oh, indeed. Always leaving them wanting more.
Perhaps there's somewhere you and I can talk in quiet.
I'm down for a little one-on-one from occasion.
Hmm.
She leads you into a side chamber, which is very well appointed. There's portraits of figures reclining, half painted. There's a window that looks out over this spectacular vista of a valley with a river leading down into this beautiful bay with palm trees, and it's almost in sunset. Well, we're here. Let's talk.
You certainly have.
Or we could do other things.
Oh, I do enjoy getting to know somebody, and I find you fascinating. But you clearly have great taste and an eye for beauty. And just look at you. I wonder how you came to be here, where you were from. Where did that spark and love of beauty grow?
You flatter me.
It's hard not to.
Of course. But I know why you're here.
Of course.
Yours is a twofold. But can I give you some advice?
I would take it gladly.
She gestures over to this sort of chaise lounge, which she then sits upon and taps the seat next to her.
I sit.
You're not so passionate about what this book does. You're more passionate about saving your people.
Yes.
There are others who are more passionate about this book and what it does.
I know them.
Do you love those that you have left behind?
In my home?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what of your child?
That's a moment for Gemini. And she thinks of when she used her powers to be able to see that face of that child and know that it's growing. She says, yes, I do love them.
Now, I understand that you are after salvation. Who wouldn't be? But what's the cost
Well, I don't know.
that you are willing to bear?
That I am willing to bear. The greatest cost that I am willing to bear, to save my people, to save my child, is my own life.
What if it was worse than that?
That is something I find hard to fathom, considering the destruction and the shadow and the pain and the agony I saw before I came to the new plane.
And also the passion, the love, the camaraderie, the community.
Yes. That is the reason why I fight.
And yet, if you were to remove that, that might not be there. There are iterations where, in a world where there is no singular threat, people who have come to love and cherish one another through trial and tribulation are indifferent strangers to one another.
But the shadow is not about balance. The shadow seeks to consume all and leave no passion and no love. Only hatred, only pain.
What do you think drives the shadow?
Hunger.
But isn't that an emotion, a passion, a drive to bring about what it thinks is the right existence into being?
But surely that is boring, that is dull, that is grey, if we are only succumbing to the whims of one being one people and their thoughts. Surely the joy and the variety comes from a whole world full of different peoples and different loves and different passions, different cultures. We do not wish to purely wipe over it, even if it is driven by a great amount of hunger and passion.
But what if, in that unity, a new expression was discovered? Instead of disparate voices clamoring and pulling in the opposite directions, stopping, thwarting, even censoring, if there is united space for creativity, could that not result in explorations and discoveries of passions that we don't even know exist yet because we haven't been allowed to explore them?
What creativity will be left?
I don't know. But we will never know if it doesn't happen. You are fighting against something that I'm not sure you understand. But besides that, even within the shadow, and you have been there, or at least you could go there,
Yes.
you might discover different passions, different joys, different loves. Who says yours is more right than the other?
Who says theirs is more right than every other person's?
If it's just a numbers game, then is there any passion in it at all?
It is not. It is so much more. We lose so much individuality. Should we let the shadow take over? You could not live. Were you once immortal, which I assume you were, you would not have been able to live your life the way you wished to.
I have no idea how I would have lived my life, because I could not have lived it any other way than I did. But I will tell you this, whichever way you choose, passion or indulgence is always a choice. Once, and for a moment, Reft pauses and seems to get very, very emotional. Once you take my place, you will sacrifice everything for this ideal. And that is a burden that I don't think anybody anticipates.
I do not wish to take your place. I wish to save my home and those I love.
By finding a book which is all about becoming a god.
Yes, but it will give us the power to stop the shadow.
If it was simply a case of snapping fingers and stopping the shadows, or stopping the dragons, or stopping the thousands of other campaigns that have drifted across the world, why wouldn't we have done it already?
From your point of view, it seems you wish to see what the shadow will do.
Because we don't know what it will do, because it hasn't done it yet. Or because that precious, precious voice of yours, that individuality that you seem to cherish so much, doesn't have a choice.
Then what is the point if we have no choice?
So at this point, the whole room just turns grey. And Reft leans back and says, that is the interesting question. Yeah. Reft waves their hand, and this book appears in front of you. That is the final book that you need.
Yes.
Once you read it, everything and everyone that you have cared about will no longer have any meaning. But you'll save your precious existence.
I see. Did you read it?
How else did I get here?
Do you regret it?
I am grateful that you are here.
To relieve you and set you free.
These are such trying times, Reft says, standing up, and the colour returns to the room. This conversation is boring. Take the book or don't. But I'm going to go and have some fun.
Then I am going to take a moment and have some fun with you.
Give me an insight check.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's a 21, natural 20.
Holy shit.
There's a small part of you that makes you think that this was all part of the plan. Then, your audience awaits.
She's not with those that she's been traveling with right now. She knows where the book is. She knows it's within grasp, but if this truly is the end of her getting to be an individual and remembering those she loves, then she is going to take a moment to feel while she still can. And she's going to go and have some fun.
The mammoth tries to stand on your head.
I mean, I didn't get a go. Can I respond to that
Yes.
massive 50 damage?
Indeed, yeah.
So Doran, in his dire wolf form, is kind of like thrust to the side. He flies across the ground 10, 15 feet, but still, close to the mammoth. And he spits out blood on the ground. Oh, Alvoth. Oh, this is what it feels like to be touched by your god. And he spits on the ground, rolls over, and uses his paws to climb up onto his 4 feet again. And he looks with malice at this creature standing above him. And I think it's around that moment when, piercing through the veil, I imagine in this interconnected God's world, about that time he might start hearing whispers of a song on the wind, might start hearing from another area of this God's realm his song that he wrote for his friend Georgina Flock, carried whispered on the wind. And in that moment, he realizes what his path is, what he needs to do. And he is reminded of the moment all those years ago back in Hearthstone when this tendrily shadowy beast erupted from the abyss and tore through his village and set him on this path where he was a simple herdsman to a dusk knight, to a revenger, to facing down his god himself. And at that moment, he pulls in more power from the ground itself, and he transforms into this shadowy, tendrily beast, wrapping himself around the mammoth, his inky black, smoky tendrils suffocating, choking this mammoth. And as he covers this kind of creature in darkness, and from many places around, Halvoth whispers of Doran's voice comes through, and they whisper at the same time, Halvoth, I realize I have but one question left. The question is, how? how can I shatter your power without shattering the world? And he is going to see if Halvoth responds to that, as he's holding him, restraining him as tightly as possible.
So you are really holding this mammoth down, and it drops to its knees. Its head is sort of trying to pull against your tendrils, but they're wrapped around its tusks and things. And you hear his voice, and before he says anything, there is this rush of golden light that sort of infuses itself into you. You get all your hit points back.
Ooh.
And Halvoth looks at you, and he simply says, with this one eye looking at you in your mind, he says, "Take it."
I would like Halvoth to make a dexterity saving throw at disadvantage,
For what?
as he's in the restrained condition.
Oh. 14.
Holy shit.
Oh, you're using it.
I want to provide some context here a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, if I can, give me a minute. So in this moment, as he realized that Halvoth is kind of fading and he's not going to pass this test that Doran set him, Doran's mind is thrown back to his childhood, right? He's a very emotional moment, and for a moment, he's a child. Doran, he's just come home from playing outside with Georgina. They've been tending the sheep together, getting into trouble, and his mother, his dear mother, is there reading him, telling him a story. Doran remembers the crackling of the fire, the sweet-smelling earth of this home, and she tells him the story of the founding of the Dusk Knights, of Thorin Stoutbeard. And Thorin was a wandering dwarf, and he was chasing the moon. People thought him mad. He was wandering from one side of the continent to the other, just chasing the moon, speaking to her, calling her down always. People called him mad. People called him crazy. He chased her to the end of the dwarven lands. He stood upon a cliff, and again the moon was just out of reach. And he said, "This is it. No more, moon, can I chase you across the land. I simply cannot do it anymore." And in that moment, as he looked down at the precipice below him, this is just outside Eric Bar, by the way, he contemplated just ending it all, his quest. At that moment, a soft voice stirred on the wind, and golden moonlight bathed him, and it said, "Thorin, come, chase me once more. It is always better to chase your dreams and fail than to let go and relinquish your soul to the void." And Thorin paused in that moment, his heart catching on these threads of hope, and he saw this radiance come down and touch him. And from the strands of her own light, the moon forged a spear, shimmering with the essence of the night sky, and she draped Thorin in a cloak of twilight, made from shadows that danced at her very edges. Then, with a solemn grace, she reached to her breast and plucked from it a shard of her very heart. It took the form of a golden talisman, warm to the touch, humming with an ancient, vibrant energy. As she passed it into Thorin's palm, Doran's mother whispers, "This holds the power to banish evil from the land. Carry it as a piece of my heart, my love, and a beacon of hope." And Thorin, armed with this, goes forth into the world, and that's how Doran's mother says, as Doran's childish eyes are closing over as sleep is taking him, "Good night, my little Dusk Knight." In that moment, Doran is clasping his god who has failed his save, and a fiery fissure rents under the earth. And Halvoth touches this fissure and is starting to be pulled atom by atom into this fissure, disintegrating parts of him as his presence touches this fissure. Golden motes shoot out and lightning leaps up into the sky backwards, and Doran is borne down on this creature, his god, as he is turned into oblivion, into nothingness. And as he is approaching the fissure, Doran hears one last thing from his god's mind, which is, "Oh, it's you."
It is a terrific roar and a bellow that sounds more frustrated and sad than angry. And your fissure burns bright and then seals up. And for a moment, you are standing silent in this glade. What do you do?
Flex. I ask a question to the air.
Okay.
Georgina, are you there?
There is no answer. At least not initially. But then you start to feel this flow of energy through you, as you felt when you transformed the first time around. And you can start to see Georgina materializing in front of you. At the same time, there is this young 6-year-old human boy busy running in the street. And he starts to slow down. As Georgina becomes more real, he starts to fade. He drops to his knees. Georgina smiles, looks a bit confused. Do you continue?
Doran will look at Georgina, happy to have seen her and know that she is still here. She's still present in the universe. And he will kneel in front of this small boy and look up at Georgina and say, "I'm sorry, you're needed."
I'm not. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with everyone else. That boy's life is needed.
Boy drops to both hands.
Let me go, Doran. Let me go. I'm proud of you.
Just one final push, and she's here.
Doran kisses the boy's forehead and lets him come back. And says, "Goodbye, Georgina."
She fades. The boy gets up, laughs, and carries on running.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, now, mate.
There is a voice behind you.
Fuck off, I'm busy.
Did you order a cappuccino?
Does that answer your question?
I didn't know how I would feel, Alvoth, when I confined you to destruction, but I guess you also are part of the cycle. Help me. Help me to throw back the darkness, and we'll make peace.
I cannot help you to do something that I cannot do. The cycle is the cycle. If I destroy the darkness, what is the cost? How is balance maintained? I did not create the darkness, nor did I create the life.
Doran waves his hand and orders some leaves to brush across the image of Halvoth that is in the background behind him. And as Halvoth disappears at Doran's will, he says, "We'll just have to find out." And he strides out of the wood towards his friends.
Interesting.
Do someone else, please.
Avery, Averatus. Brax is standing in front of you. Right. Ready?
A moment. As he nurses his wounds, takes a breath. Fucking hurt. He spits blood on the ground. A couple of teeth come loose. And he scampers on the ground for his now ruined and bent sword, as it was when he first picked up the sword of Alphonse. No longer magically imbued with Damnifer's blessed curse. It's now just a piece of broken, rusted metal. And he smiles, knowing that he's finally free. In a way. And that sweet oblivion may at last be found.
In the form of a massive fucking ball in your face.
But he's going to play for time, because he still has hope in his heart that he can be of service to his friends. Perhaps he's no longer a threat to Gottfried. Perhaps the pact with Damnifer, with no Damnifer, is void. And I can't hurt them anymore. And so I too am free, in a way. But he's not willing to give up without a fight, as he always does. And so he picks up this piece of broken metal and looks at this giant Goliath of a fucking god, and he gives it another go. Because what else is there to do? And so I will go for more of a classical thrust this time. No fanciness, no trickery, just good old-fashioned fencing. And that's a 2. This piece of fucking metal just bends on his breastplate. But I've got another one in me. And I give him a swift kick between the legs. Oh, that's a little bit better. That is a 25.
25 actually hits.
Yeah.
You wounded a
Those
god.
massive balls.
And I just go, I literally, I don't, unarmed attack to his, to his groin.
Okay. Do you have unarmed combat?
No.
So it's a whole 2 damage.
Yes.
Right.
Well, you get the gauntlets on, right? Gauntlets of overpower?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your strength modifier, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
me.
19, so I guess plus
Plus
4. So 4.
Yeah. Okay.
4 points of...
Ball damage.
I mean,
And I laugh in the face
there's
of
not too
fucking...
many people who wounded a god.
No,
so you've
that's
done well.
true.
And
That's true.
I look up and I laugh in his face. I go, your turn, big man.
He looks down at you and he goes, sort of cocked up, didn't I? Well, technically the rules are you entered into this with all of your power and you didn't protect it very well, and so I do get to cut your head off. It doesn't feel very justly. Right. And you're trying to take my place, are you?
It's as good a place as any. Your realm, your power.
And you chose my position. You didn't want to go after, say, one of the namby-pambies. Reft or something.
No namby-pamby for Averatus. Go big or go home. It's my motto. It looks like I found my home here.
Yes. Well, you want to do it on your feet or just in the back, lying down?
On my feet, if you please.
Right you are. And, yeah, he sort of puts the maul down, hefts the claymore in his hand. No other tricks?
I'm afraid I've run out of those.
Do you mean to tell me you went into battle and brought your adversary to the very source of your power without something sneaky?
That is, by definition, what I did.
It's very on brand. I mean,
And you have done me a favor today. So,
Oh, how so?
you have rid me of my own patron, who was more of a curse than a blessing, to be perfectly honest. But what is this talking already? Just fucking do it.
He looks at the sword, he looks back at you. Well, it just doesn't feel very godly. If I'm honest. It didn't really feel that way to begin with, but I thought perhaps you would have duplicates. No?
No. Look, challenge
Sphere
you.
of annihilation.
Surprise!
I have this bent sword and a lot of gumption.
Gumption +2, I'll have you know.
I take it you haven't read many of the scriptures that I have sent down to your plane?
Nope, not a one.
Art of war. Unofficial street fighting rules.
You learn those by fighting, really, not by
No,
reading.
no, not really.
Learn karate in 10 simple steps.
I know.
All right. Well.
This is rather anticlimactic for me, too. Just want to put it out there.
I was expecting more of a titanic battle between a magnificent warrior capable of doing what we have to do on a daily basis. And so, yeah.
You haven't been watching my attempts at leadership and war, have you?
There was some charge or other that you led, I recall.
I sort of fell into that, too, if I'm honest.
Hmm. Not very nice down here, is it?
No. But I have been informed that oblivion awaits, so...
No, he doesn't wait for anyone.
Would he have felt Halvoth perish?
All right. What are your plans for him, by the way?
I mean, you've seen I don't really do plans.
Ah, I thought as much.
No. What do you think we ended up here?
Kind of buries his sword in the shale.
We're just standing arms crossed now. Just...
I feel a cup of tea coming in.
New mentor. Guide him through life.
Your other companions, great warriors.
No. Not especially.
Things must have changed since I was last on the prime material plane.
Perhaps.
Was it particularly difficult getting the copies of the book?
Yes. Yes. Quite a lot of emotional damage more than anything else.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, it was a bit... Well, not really your cup of tea.
Things must have changed. In my day, you just hit things until they gave it to you. Hang on. How did you get into the god's realm?
I rode the coattails of a friend.
Yes, that does track with your current capacity.
Are we going to get on with this? I mean, I appreciate that you don't, you have other means to attend to, but I kind of thought I'd be dead by now. And we're still talking.
No, you're right.
I'm sorry if your heart's not in it.
Well, it's just... It must have taken incredible amounts of courage to have even challenged me.
I'd say a lack of forethought and planning, really. But there was...
No, you've just proved that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Courage, I have in spades. Sure. It's not really a currency one spends very often.
It's not a very common currency either. And your companions, they're as courageous as you are? Got any beef with them?
Oh, well, before we came down here, I was going to reminisce about vengeance and betrayal and...
Oh yes, you did whine about that before.
Yeah.
What did you do about it?
I got murdered.
Right. So, no capacity for battle,
Yeah.
no head for war,
Mm.
no real ability to fight, and then got yourself murdered before you could enact any kind of vengeance at all.
These are very brief notes you're giving, but you're right in essence.
Then you used the power of somebody else to further your own goals and got him killed.
Yes.
And you used the power of somebody else to get you into the realm of the gods.
Yes. I didn't realize this swift kick between the legs has unmanned you so.
I'm just trying to work out what you've actually done.
When you put it like that, I sort of rely on the others to do the thinking and the planning, and I just sort of come in and edge it through the goal, really.
You're an accountant.
Oh, God, no. Oh, I'm farthest from the accountant as it's possible to be. I sort of seem to come in, swoop in, and save the day by accident, almost.
You are an accidental savior.
Sure, if that means anything to you. It was only by leading those people. My original goal was to find someone in the city who I was afraid I'd lost. A very good friend of mine, a captain. I thought we were going to lose her in the siege against the dwarves. And I sort of stumbled upon a rebellion who could lead a charge. It was through no greater will. Through no planning, that's for sure. Just courage and taking the initiative, really.
Oh. Then I suspect there is no ways that I can defeat you.
Expand?
Getting bigger won't help. I can't defeat you if you simply have fate on your side. It means that I could take this blade and attempt to cut your head off, and I would be stopped.
Is there a way we... Sure.
Watch. He pulls out the blade, steps over to you, looks around. Desolate plain of red shale in all directions. Ready?
All right. Goodbye, Gottfried. May your quest for the book be speedy. And give him a bloody good kicking. Yep, carry on.
That's it. One goodbye.
That's what I have in me, really.
Oh, I'm doing the planet a service, he says. He swings down. Roll a d20 for me, please.
Sure. It's a 5.
It's a 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. As he brings this claymore down towards you, you hear Infinity screaming along the edge of its blade as it is about to reduce you to nothing when you suddenly vanish and find yourself standing in this dark space. You do hear an echo of someone going, I fucking told you. Right. Gottfried.
Hello.
And I'm sorry it's taking so long to bounce between you all, but you all split the party, okay? Now,
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It's great. You're going to watch a show
Yeah,
each
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
You get to the end of book 2.
Ooh,
Slay the gods, gain their power.
that's it.
That's pretty much it. And the realm in which they are originally from, you think that that's more of a metaphor than anything else. They will probably be in the realm from which they are from.
Okay.
Book 3
Yeah.
kind of feels like, well, you don't know what book 3 would necessarily contain, because
Right, so
book
there's kind
1
of-
is the background,
Yeah.
book 2 is how to do it.
Yeah.
So what the hell is book
Book
3?
three. Well, closes the book, puts it in his little satchel, looks at the two ladies and goes, honest, I'm a little disappointed. But I suppose there's only one thing left to do. You won't, of course, let me go. Or send me. Would you be so kind? I've only 2 more.
1 more.
Oh, yes. Well, here goes. And here goes, lads.
Right.
I wish to be transported to the location of the 3rd book of the Crepuscularium in such a way as to be able to take possession of the 3rd book of the Crepuscularium and survive the process.
Sure. So as they look at you, they're both smiling, grinning, as a matter of fact, with glee.
Shit.
As you finish your spell.
Mm.
And you are suddenly standing in this very, very lush red chamber. And there is a stand, and there is a book on that stand.
Nobody else here?
Nope.
Interesting. Pick it up.
As you go over to the book, you see, standing in front of you, just ever so briefly, give me a second here. Where the heck is her name? You see an image of the old professor, your friend from Twalis University,
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Arch-Chancellor Cruz.
That creep, yeah.
You see him standing in front of the book for just a moment, and he leans forward and he says to you, when are you going to learn that this quest of yours is a joke?
Well, you know, I never liked you. And I never respected you either. My quest might well be a little inevitable journey where I have been dragged along by my own desires that, of course,
Hubris.
I did not choose. I beg your pardon?
Hubris.
Certainly hubris, pride. But along the way, there was also a sincere a sincere desire to right a wrong. This arbitrary business of gods telling everyone what to do. I don't like it. I think people should be free. So, I may be entirely wrong. But you see, this is where you always failed. A real scholar waits and reads until he has all the information, and only then admits that he was wrong. But he is proven wrong. You understand? So, excuse me, I have a book to read.
He steps aside and he puts his hand on the book and he says, in which case, I look so very forward to seeing you and hearing you tell me that you were wrong.
Very well.
He steps aside.
I mean, it's probably an overabundance of caution, but I'm going to pick it up with the mage hand.
Sure.
No. Open it. If it's blank, I would kill you.
No such luck, sadly. It isn't blank. It is terrifying. As you start to read this book, this is not how to become a god. This is not how to kill a god. This is what becomes of a god. And it's what the gods can and can't do. It's almost like a rule book. And sort of flipping through it backwards and forwards, it's a really constrained rule book.
Mm.
And then the second half of it seems to be more of a battle play than anything else. There's descriptions of entities, beings, there are rituals that the magic is so far beyond anything that you can even comprehend. But it all looks to be like a requirement, if you will.
A requirement?
There's things like, you will do this, you will do that, this shall be done. And
So
then
there's
at the very end of the book, because just sort of flipping through it, there is a very curious, is it terms and conditions almost?
Yeah.
Which, just a quick kind of glance, it looks like once the three books are combined, there's a countdown.
This was not what he was anticipating. What was that guy's name again, the Chancellor?
Cruz.
Cruz. Well, Cruz. A pain in the ass. Very well, I don't know what to do with this. But one thing I'm not going to do is sit here and twiddle my thumbs. Perhaps this has all been fated. Perhaps this was all written in advance for me, and I am just a cog turning in a big machine. But I have not spent so long looking for these 3 volumes. To turn back now. I will put 3 books together.
You put the 3 books together.
I do.
Okay.
And as I do, there's a kind of a... Have you ever seen someone who's on a lot of drugs and their eyeballs are literally vibrating in their skull?
Yes.
I'm doing that. and something deep inside that was already cracked breaks.
Interesting.
Yeah. 3 books go together.
In the right order?
Oh, yeah. I mean...
So, just to be clear, you haven't read the 3rd book yet. You glanced through it. Okay, but you are putting the 3 volumes together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cruz looks at you and he goes, "Wow, I see you are even a worse scholar than I thought." interesting. He bows to you, and as he does, he transforms from being the Arch-Chancellor, this haggard old man, into this very stunning woman. And she kind of looks like the woman who ran that pie and tavern shop, if you remember her.
I do.
Joe Bakewell's?
No. She was
The lax dog, Brunhilde.
Brunhilde.
That's right.
Yeah.
And for a moment, she looks at you and she goes, I really did love you, you know, you old goat. It's kind of why I gave you always the best pie. Oh, well, see you around. Excuse me, I've got to go and get ready for battle now. And she saunters through a doorway that leads onto a stage where you can see Gemini singing her heart out. And a very disturbed looking Doran standing just behind her. As you put the three books together, there is this fusion of light that zips across the spines of the three books. And it turns into a very neat doorway.
It's a door. It's a door. Has it completely transformed into a door such that there's no writing, there's no book?
It's just a door.
And is it open or closed?
Closed. Simple handle on it. The door appears to be made out of wood.
Is it a trembling hand? Why not? Why not? Want is nothing. Open the door.
And you're slightly disappointed. But we'll find out why in a bit.